Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Thursday, January 26th. And the headlines, we've got winter weather conditions returning. We're going to see temperatures near normal here over the next week to maybe 10 days. And then I think we're going to see a very serious Arctic outbreak as Siberian Express will be heading this way. And we've talked about that for a couple of weeks now. It looks like that's going to be on the move here. But again, that will not be for another probably 10 days or so. But until then, we're back to more near normal conditions. Over the next couple of days, we're going to have some snowy conditions out there, especially this morning into the afternoon. And then I think we're going to transition into more of a lake effect snow pattern as we see several upper troughs moving through the area here right on through the weekend. Again, the heaviest snow will be along the snowbelt areas around into the west of 131. If we look at the next slide, you can see this is the anniversary of the greatest snowstorm considered in Michigan history back on this date in 1978. And you want to check out a really good read-up on this article. Go to the National Weather Service Detroit, and I'm sure they'll have a link out there here over the next couple of days about this storm. And then if you go to my website, you can actually click on this link right here for our fantastic slideshow put to video to music, which is very appropriate. And again, it was quite a snowstorm. You can see here how high some of the snow banks were. Many roads in the Breckenridge area, we had a couple of roads there where the snow banks were taller than the school buses, and it got to the point where even when it didn't snow, school was called off just because the buses couldn't make the turn, and there was only one lane in many of the back roads. If we look at the normals of the day, the normal high is 28, the normal low is 13. And you can see the coldest temperature, again, tied for yesterday. This one occurred back in 1959 at 24 degrees below zero. And you can see 10.5 on this one day back in 1978. Of course, there was snow on either side of this date that in many areas picked up between 1 and 2 feet of snow, again, back in 1978. Yesterday across the U.S., 86 degrees, a warm spot at Brownsville and McAllen, Texas, and the low temperature, 26 below, at Stanley, Idaho. If you look at conditions around the MAC area, yesterday you can see temperatures mainly in the upper 30s to around 40, but still in the upper 40s across southeast lower Michigan, now a solid 5 degrees per day above normal. And if we look at some of the precipitation, about 1/1200ths of an inch, plus there's been snow on top of that that's still stuck in the rain gauge. The cold spot, Newaygo at 32, while Jasper was the warm spot at 49. If we look at conditions around the area this morning, see temperatures mainly in the low 30s across the area, mid 30s across southeast lower Michigan. And again, it's snowing across much of this area. And we can see some areas pick up about an inch of snow up around the Saginaw Valley and over into the Thumb area here before it begins to light up here later on this morning. And you can see on radar that area of snowfall. Here's the low pressure system now just to the east of Lake Huron. And again, that's throwing some of this deformation snow back into the area. And again, look for some slipper travel across areas of rural roads and bridges and overpasses. And again, they've had quite a bit of snow up across north central lower Michigan, some reports of around 4 inches of snow there. If we look at the weather map this morning, again, our low pressure system will be moving off to the east. The cold front now well off to the east. We're finally into a northwest regime. And that's going to allow us, again, to see temperatures closer to where they ought to be for this time of year, with temperatures settling back into the 30s, and then many temperatures here over the next 7 days will be in the upper 20s to around 30, with lows in the upper teens to low 20s. If we look at the weather map for tomorrow, you can see as a trough of low pressure pinwheel around the big upper level low that's sitting across, or the trough that's sitting across the Great Lakes. We're going to see trough's pinwheel around that main system and bring occasional lake effect snow to much of the Great Lakes. And then a stronger cold front will bring more reinforcing cold air in over the weekend, and that'll give us more snow showers. And then I think we may moderate just a little bit earlier in middle next week, but then I think we got some really cold air coming towards the end of next week or next weekend. As far as precipitation over the next 7 days, you can clearly see where the lake effect is. All these areas picking up downwind snow squalls from the Great Lakes. And as far as how much snow we might expect across the area, again, the snow belt areas of northwest Michigan and across southeast lower Michigan will be the big winners, along with the Lake Superior shoreline, where some areas can see between 6 inches or more up in those areas. And as far as the next 8 to 14 day outlook, finally you can see where we're getting that upper ridge we talked about for the last couple of weeks moving far enough now where we're getting cold air wrapping in and cutting underneath that big ridge. And that'll allow for a pretty active storm track when you consider we've got warmer than normal temperatures across the Gulf states. the cold air pressing in, and we're going to get lots of storms that begin to develop here in about 2 weeks. And you can see the precipitation outlook is fairly dry in the 6 to 10 day outlook, but then once we start getting deeper into the forecast period, we're going to see a more active storm track develop here again in about 10 days to 2 weeks, and we should begin to see more chances of snow at that time. And as far as weather watch this morning, not a whole lot going on other than some gale warnings across portions of the northeastern shorelines of lower Michigan. It's going to be a pretty quiet day today. Again, some flood advisories, watches, or warnings across the area, but a pretty quiet weather pattern today. Thanks for stopping by and have yourself a great day, and 73s to all.